Okay, so we should be finishing up Simin Taf Lamed Gimel. Right, so the beginning of Taf Lamed Vav is a little bit of a hemshich to the sugya of Mapolos and the sugya of Bar, which is in Taf Lamed Ches. So it'll be a little bit of a hemshich, and hopefully at some Simin Taf Lamed Vav and Taf Lamed Zayin, we should be finishing up the Erech by Rosh Chodesh. It will take a little bit more. We'll see Sercha Masker is a little bit more complicated. They're not such big simanim. Also very much both Bar and Maisa. And that's about 2 weeks we'll have to do those two simanim. Okay. So Hemshich of Simin Taf Lamed Gimel, some of the pratim of Dini Bedikas Chometz, and some of the ifanim that Chazal tell us in the Gemara tells us that they're potter from Bedikas Chometz for different reasons. L'maisa, I want to go back a little bit just to the shorish of the shaila of Bedikas Chometz and the question of Chayim Stokin. The Mishnah already tells them, getting Psachim Daf Beis, Or La'arbas, Or Boikin Nes HaChometz La'or HaNer. The Mishnah doesn't tell us anything about Chayim Stokin. Shulchan Aruch, in the beginning of Taf Lamed Aleph, which is the Etzem Halacha from Din Bedikas Chometz, B'tchilas Yudal B'nisan Boikin Nes HaChometz La'or HaNer, B'chayrin u'B'sdakin. The takana is to be Boidek B'chayrin u'B'sdakin. In Taf Lamed Gimel, by us, there's no Lashon Chayrin u'B'sdakin, but L'maisa, that's where we find the halacha, they now let it use an avuka. And the Gemara tells us in Daf Ches that at least one of the reasons, to me it's mashma all the reasons, at least one of the reasons you can't use an avuka is because you can't be machnes an avuka into Chayrin u'B'sdakin. Even the other time the Gemara says that Arla Chayrov, and it causes different chashas, so you're talking that those are also because of a chashash that you're going to, the chashash will burn down your house or that it'll blind you is only when you're going into Chayrin u'B'sdakin. Mashe'en Kain, for the general, to light up a room, if we're not talking about Chayrin u'B'sdakin, Chayrin Pasha that an avuka provides more light and better light than just a little ner. Well, that's the Chayrin. But okay, Al Kapanim, Shulchan Aruch tells us it's a chiv Chayrin u'B'sdakin. Where does it come from? So it comes from Aleph this Gemara. The Gemara says that you can't use an avuka, which is Allah and Taf Lamed Gimel, because an avuka doesn't go into Chayrin u'B'sdakin. So we see there's a chiv l'kal bachas Chayrin u'B'sdakin. Aleph. Beis, the Gemara in the Hemshech tells us by the din of Beit Tzivi, Beit Milchi, different places where you store your food, that there's no chaves bedika. The Gemara says no chavis b'dika. Frank Gemara, what's it talking about? The Gemara says it was nafal. So the Gemara says that there's no chavis b'dika b'chayrin u'B'sdakin because it's a sakana to put your hands in there because of an akrav. So mil is no chiyav to go in there b'chayrin u'B'sdakin. In Taf Lamed Aleph, where Shulchan Aruch says that there's a chiyav b'dika b'chayrin u'B'sdakin, so the guy quotes these two Gemaras. Quotes the Gemara of nafal by Beit Tzivi, Beit Milchi, that the Gemara says l'hadya there you're not chayiv to check in chayrin u'B'sdakin, and then he quotes the Gemara of avuka, that an avuka can't go into Chayrin u'B'sdakin, vice versa, that we're supposed to be going into Chayrin u'B'sdakin. So that's the Makar and Shas Daf Ches Psachim, that what the Mishnah says, Arla Arbas or Boikin Es HaChometz, takana, specifically the ner is a takana for the Chayrin u'B'sdakin. And that's what the Gemara brings in the Makar. Now, l'chayr there's makom to klarach Akiva. This takana that we talk about, of Arla Arbas or Boikin Es HaChometz, which is klar, at least bechelkoi, takana midirabanan. Hagam that we saw Shita Saran, the Bedika link could be deraisa if you don't do bittul, and the Rambam learns pshat in that Mishnah on Daf Beis that's talking about a Bedika deraisa without a bittul. But Lamaisa, certainly the chelik of Arli Yadalid, and certainly the chelik of Ner V'lo Yavuka, that's a takana derabanan. That's what it's more in the Gemara, because Ner works better, or Haner Yofe, Arli Yadalid is Anoshim are Mitzuim B'Botehem, different time, and these are time in midirabanan for all the prate din of this Bedika. Now, when Chazal were matakin Bedika L'Arli Yadalit with a ner, the mile of the ner is going to Chayrin u'B'sdakin. But is that the etzem hagdara of this takana? What's the shaila? Was the takana of Arli Yadalit only in Chayrin u'B'sdakin, or was it actually to also check the middle of your floor where there's no Chayrin u'B'sdakin? Also, Arli Yadalit, when you go around with your candle, with your lights on, with your lights off, whatever you do you also have to go to your dining room table? Chutz from the etzem shaila that we already cleaned it and we did mikur and the shari tshuva, without that, let's say you just did a regular kibbutz like the Chumash Hadeshin says, and you're chayiv bedika in your whole house, do you have to go to your dining room table, which is just a flat table with no Chayrin u'B'sdakin, no leaves, it's just a flat table? Do you have to go to the middle of the floor, open floor, and just look at the floor, to look over every inch of the floor, to make sure there's no chametz there? Meaning mekaymes hagluyim, let's call them, places that are not Chayrin u'B'sdakin, not hidden away, not inside the cabinet, under the bed, under the thing. And again, Chayrin u'B'sdakin, the pashtus mashma'usam we don't have. We don't have Chayrin, we're talking about holes in the wall, and Stuckim are cracks in the wall.
Yeah,
That's not churnu stuckim.
In between places.
Yeah, of course not churnu stuckim.
Is that a
Cracks in the couch?
Cracks in the couch. That's a good
Radiator,
example. That might be churnu stuckim. Correct. That might be churnu stuckim. It's not the churnu stuckim of Chazal called Bachas. Now, if I get it under the bed, that's already a discussion. The Magen Avraham, he says it may be Tarnagoyim go under there. We're going to get back to that. Akapanim. So l'chayru we could clear two stadim. I was very surprised not to see words on Mefurashim about this issue. We could say Avada or Haner is Yofel Bedikas b'chayru stuckim. But if Adam and Chazal said early Yadal to go around checking your house, it means everywhere. It means also the Mekayim Sagluyim. It means also your table, and also the middle of the floor, and also the counter, places that are not Chayr Stuckin. It just means even Chayr Stuckin. In order to get into Chayr Stuckin, you need that special nair, not the Avuka.
That's part of the Takana was to
go around. Now, Lefiza, we could clear. It's Mamash Aloy Plug. So even though when you're going to your dining room table, the Chayra and Avuka would be better than a nair. But no, that's not going to take a nair, early Yadal, and check all Mekayim Sai Gluyim and Sai Nistarim, the Chayr Stuckin. That's mitzarech. Ulachor yesh makam maimer. No, the takana beemes lo'ar haner or liyadalid was only in Chayr Stuckin. It was a special takana chazal or choishish. What about the chametz you're going to forget about? And that you have to go look after it. Where should I look? I mean, I know if I have chametz. No, check in the Chayr Stuckin. Check in the cracks in the couch. Check under the svarim shelves to see if there's anything left over there. And that's the takana. Masha'en kain everywhere else in your house, down the table, the floor, the open floor. Yesh makam loymar, two dargers. We could say avada you have to check them early adalid, because matzuyi bibotehim, and Chazal don't want you to forget and be misrashal. You don't need arhaner, so you can go in the Chayr Stuckin. Then you can put out your candle. And let's just talk Bisman Chazal. Then you can light your avuka. What does it mean light your avuka? The way they lit up their houses, they probably had lanterns or avukas or lamps. And then you could just light up your house and just look around for chametz. But often that there's a chiyuv to check everywhere. Chayr Stuckin, that's dafches, that's what you need. The or haner yafel bedika. Everywhere else, put out the candle and turn on the lights. For us, it's electric lights. For them, it was probably avukas. Yesh makom loymar oidoiser mizeh. That the entire or larbas or boikin asachamitz lahaner was only Chayr Stuckin. And everywhere else, your table, the open places in your cabinet, your shelf, the open places is not b'chal nechlan or larbas or boikin asachamitz lahaner. What's with these places? What about the chametz in the rest of your house? What about the chametz on your table? What about the chametz in your refrigerator? Without the Chayr Stuckin in the fridge. I'm saying, what about in the chametz cabinet? So yesh makom loymar, but that wasn't Xeris Chazal. That's not Takonos Chazal that you have to make sure that you're going to zok Taisus is Shema Yavala Achle. That's the din deraisa. The din deraisa Shivas Yamim Sa'arli Matzi B'Vatechem Tashbisu Sa'armi Vatechem. So when the Torah tells us I'm going to come and see the different sheets in the Rishonim, whether it's from Sheishos or whether it's from the night when the Lava Ba'yirah starts, when the Isser Essay starts. There's an Isser deraisa, there's man Isser Chametz to have Chametz around. That's what the Torah tells you. And the Torah tells you Tashbisu Sa'armi Vatechem. So what does that mean? So even if it doesn't mean a bedika, like the Ran said, that you have to go mechapes in the Chayr Stuckin, it certainly means to get rid of the chametz. I mean, the chametz that you have in the middle of your floor, the chametz you have sitting on your table, get rid of it in order not to be over by Rabbi Matzit. So for that, it could be Chazal to make any takanas. That's the regular din of getting rid of the chametz. That's the mitzvah satayra before Pesach. So when should it be? Maybe not our basar. Whenever you get around to it, just make sure sometime, leave yourself time. Just like when the Torah says that Kol Ezrach b'Yisrael Yeshu Basukos. So we know that. So the mail is sometime before Sukkot you have to build a sukkah. Because otherwise you're not going to be able to climb that mitzvah. So the same thing with chametz. The Torah says you can have chametz can be over nisser. So I don't need Erlar Basar Boikin chametz la'arner. That was a special takana only in the Chayr Stuckin. Only in the Mekamas Mistarim. Only because it's special chash. It's not medili. Even if you do your chiyuv deraisa of getting rid of your chametz. But it says Taisus or Choshish, maybe there's going to be a little bit left over. Chametz we're used to eating the whole year. You're going to find a little cookie in a Chayr Stuckin on Pesach and you come to eat it.
What about Aksabra?
What about?
Aksabra.
Yeah, what about Achsadr?
The whole place is Mokum Gully.
Oh, very good. So first of all, I want to be makdim that the Graz makes two dargas in Bedika, and he seems to think that I'm saying is an afkamina between what we'll call Bedika and just cleaning out your chametz and tashbisu. That's about the chiv deraisa to get rid of your chametz, and that's why in the Makom is gloom there's no takana. The Graz himself makes an afkamina even in Bedika. He says that places that it's ragil to bring in chametz, that might be a chiv deraisa of Bedika as opposed to places where it's just a chash. Now, achsadra. So how do you understand achsadra? So just before this shir started, we had Siyat Shmai to see a Sharatzian, Sifkat Nandalid, Shulchar Mamash Shaplia. When the Gemara contrasts an Achsadra to Shar Makoimos, what it's saying is the place where you need a Ner B'Shar Makoimos to check in the Char Nestakin, B'Achsadra you don't need, which means now Achsadra, according to some Shitas, don't have walls. They have floors and they have some beams holding up the pargola or whatever it is. So l'chor, the pashup shot is that the entire achsadra does not need a ner, whether it's mekaymes gluyim or whether it's chor nishtakin. Do we assume that an achsadra doesn't have chor nishtakin? I don't know why I think that's an unfair assumption. I think the assumption is true like all places. They have cracks in the walls. What, in the achsadra on the side, they didn't have a little place for the shtop a little bit of food. And chametz in the shmei koira, in the pargola, in the floor pasha, they had gumas in their floor. So who said there's no chor nishtakin in achsadra? Va'al zen emar. Le'umas, what we find in a regular place, or the din achsadra we know applies also to a regular room. Connected the aruba in the chatzah, you don't need a ner. That means that in the chor nishtakin, in that place, as long as the sun is shining directly on it, you don't need an arhaner. And fakert, he hanesenes, that the other places, stam the floor of your achsadra or the floor of your the open the mekaymes kaluyim, could be then there's no nafkamina. I mean, practically speaking, there's no nafkamina between the table on your achsadra and the table on your house. It's just a makam galoin.
Chatzar would be a kasha.
Oh, so the Sharatzian says no, chatzar is not a kasha at all.
Chatzar, you're allowed to check. You have the chatzar. You have to check linear.
Who said?
Well,
I'll tell you. Who says Sharatzian says. Sharatzian says that stadim need a bedika. But who says la'araner? I say not la'araner. Kipshuta again. If we're understanding the mitzvahs of chatzar correctly, now maybe there's a chatzar with walls. Their chatzeros were closed in sometimes. If the chatzar was a mitzvahs of achsadra that oirav, so the Shulchan Aruch says just that the Gemara says that the Tarna Goylos only eat the Chometz in the middle. They don't go into the Char Nishtakin. So they need a Bedikas. They need a Bedikas. Who said you need an Araner? So the Sharatzian says you need an Araner. Tzarachin B'Kairei. I think it's, again, I don't know the Metzias of a Chatzar. Maybe the Metzias of a Chatzar was like a regular room. But if the Metzias of a Chatzar was like an Achsadra, the truth an Achsadra never needs an air, even if you have some cracks in the walls. And that's Steam called place. The Gemara just says the animals don't go to the stud. Achsadra? Of course.
Or is enough that you don't have to do al-did in there. But the study had to do al-did in there.
Yeah, because the Gemara is
coming with an achsadra? There's no discussion. You're talking about some of a chatzar.
So the Gemara is coming la'afuki or achama, and it's trying to find a new kimta. So it says chatzar is not a good kimta because these animals eat it. What about the stadim of the chatzar?
So I'm just saying, stadim of chatzar, I think it's achs mishnai. Either the mitzias of a chatzar, I don't know if it's chatzar, I don't know if it's oirav. L'chor it's oirav. But if you have a hechtem, and I think that's a pshat in the Sharatzian also. If a chatzar in the tzadim is a place where it's not oirav, then you need a bika. I'm just saying, if it has a status of chsadra, then l'chor you don't need an oiraner at all, even in the chor nishtakin, because that's l'chor the whole din of chsadra. What? No, because it is oirav.
The study is not oirav.
Fine. If it's not oirav, then you need oiraner. Fine. Chsadra is oirav, even in the chor nishtakin. That's l'chor to first thing. That's what I'm saying. So chatzar might be different.
So if chatzar has stadim, and we're saying that you wouldn't
and that's not oirav.
So what Rav said, it doesn't need bedika.
The emtza.
Well,
the emtza does not.
Yeah, it it's not for the orvan. You would have to do bedika. There is bedika on a makom agol.
Oh, very nice deal. Okay, that's we have to deal with that question. L'charetz mashma. That's what Shulchan Aruch says. Emtza shel chatzar doesn't need bedika. Why? Only because the orvan need it. Mashma if they don't need it, even that big open area in the middle of your chatzar needs a bedika. Ha'ara. That's a good ha'ara. We're going to get back to that. Fine. Now, let's just go to the two shlavim. So we're clarifying like this.
What's the mashma left from bedika? You don't search for something on the table.
Good point. Good point. So that's Zach's question. You're telling me that it's bedika and Shulchan Aruch, that you need bedika, but if bedika means like chipus, like Gemara's mashma, so what's a chai chipus? Just look at the table. Is that the bedika? Maybe. Okay. So these are two very good points. So let's just go achas lachas. Let's find makayos. So we have one Claire. We have two Claires really. Two questions. Shar makayos and not chor nishtakin. Is it b'chal an inyan to do it lel or lar basar, and does it have to be or haner? Or could it be or havuka? Could it be at different times? So my says
So one zero, two separate zeros.
which are lar basar and the ner?
Yeah.
Well, they go together. But maybe there's what I'm clarifying is maybe there's makom l'chalik. If we don't say loy plugs, maybe there's makom l'chalik. Or lar basar you have to do everywhere, so you shouldn't forget. But or haner, once you're finished with the chor nishtakin, maybe not. But in a there is makom to say just for that reason alone we should put them together. So Sifav tells us that a chatzir is pater from bedika because the Tarna Goyim will eat it. Eat the food. Eat the chometz that's found there. So the Magen Avram has a kasha. It's a contest, I believe. He says, what are you doing? You're doing bedika. You don't need a bedika in the chatzir because the Tarna Goyim will eat it. Now at the end of the simon, the Beis Yosef brings a kolboy. The kolboy says that you dafka have to check under the beds because of the Tarnagolas. Because they drag food around, they leave it there. So the Magen gets stuck in a shtickle stira. Are the Tarnagolas helping the Bedika issue or hurting the Bedika issue? Do they eat the Chometz or do they spread the Chometz? So the Magen says, he has a chat. Tarnagolas are small animals, small birds, so they can nibble on perurim and small pieces of bread. But if you have a big piece of bread, you have a big loaf of bread, that the only thing they can do with that is drag it around. They can't eat it. So Mela says to Magen Avram, when you have Tarnagolas, mitzad echad, they take care of the problem of Bedika, because they nibble away at everything. Not in the churn they're stuck in, but in the other places. But mitzad big pieces of bread, that they make things worse, because they drag it around, they can't eat it. Says the Magen Avram, he's Medaik, the Kol Boy there says, so that's why when there's Tarnagolas, you don't need Bedika, but Kibud is enough to sweep the floor. What does sweeping the floor help? Hi, we know the Chometz Sedeshin tells us sweeping is not a good Bedika because of the Gumais. So the Prima Galim is Masber, the Magen Avram, very simple. The whole point that Kibud doesn't work, that we're Mechuyev to do Bedika, is because there's the Gumais, and there's also the Chayr stuck in. And in those places, the Kibud doesn't clean out the Chometz. So in the places that the Mekom is gluing out the Chayr stuck in, the Eifus, the Tarnagolas, take care of that. They eat up all the little tiny Pirurim. So that takes care of the problem of Bedika. What about the big pieces? So for that, Kibud is enough. So l'char it's mavur that in the Emtza HaChatzer, as long as you don't have a Gumas problem, because you have the Tarnagolas, sweeping is enough. Meaning there's no loy plug. As long as you can take care of the problem, it comes out like this. I'm just making a simple point. After the Tarnagolas, your Chatzar is full of Chometz still. So what happens, what's the halach of a place that's full of Chometz on Erev Pesach? You have to do Bedika, right? The halach is, you don't have to do Bedika. Just do Kibud. That's his deal. That's why he's answering this deal. But L'maisa, as I keep the chayes from the Magen Avram, that as long as the Kibud, as long as we figure out in Metzias a way to dance around the problem, because the Tarnagolas eat the little stuff. The big stuff, Kibud works. The only thing Kibud doesn't work for is the little stuff gets stuck in the Gumas. But if you have a big piece of bread, that is going to get out. That's the Umdana.
Kibud is not Bedika.
What? Kibud is not a Bedika. The Chometz Sedeshin says L'haydi Kibud does not work for Bedika. Not a Bedika. It's not sufficient. So, what is it? It's cleaning. So I said this is exactly the point. L'chayra mavur, that berega. So we're already zachinu l'din that berega you have makom is gluyim, and you have no chash of pirurim and churn shtakim. So, but there's still chametz. That's exactly what I'm saying. There's chametz in your chatzir. And afal piki, you don't have to do bedika. Just sweep. Do you have to sweep l'ar haner? Do you have to sweep on ar liyadalit? Not mashma like that. It's mashma like the Chometz Sedeshin himself says. A few days before Pesach, they used to sweep their houses. And then everything's fine. Then they just put out some pirum. The Chometz Sedeshin's whole problem is shalai techalik bein bedika l'adika. The Chometz Sedeshin is bothered that gumais. What's with the gumais? But chutz from the problem of gumais, the fact that you're sweeping, I have a different problem. There's the takana. Okay, maybe that's part of the lois techalik of the Chometz Sedeshin. But the ma'is is before the Chometz Sedeshin that the din of kibud is not a problem. Why? Kibud you could do in the dark. You could. I don't know how dark. L'chayra kibud you could do l'ar halafana. So why did the Chometz Sedeshin say that? You can't do kibud. Forget about the gumais. Ar l'ar ba'asar b'ytis chos l'ar haner. If you're going to clean the floors, forget about gumais. Even if there's no gumais, don't you have to do l'ar haner? Isn't that part of the takana? So you see already l'chayra from this Magen Avram, some of the Chometz Sedeshin, that there's no loy plug that mekamis hagluyim also need ar l'ar ba'asar l'ar haner. You don't have to go with the ner on the open
That's
table.
That's from the Mordechai that before you do Bedika, you're supposed to sweep.
And fakir, exactly. And that's
Chometz Sedeshin not talking about doing it earlier.
no. He cares. He says lahadina. No, he says lahadina. They would sweep their houses.
Places that the sweeping didn't
He
help.
basically describes
Getting all the
the
big
we
pieces.
hachas yosar practice ourselves. They clean the house in a normal way, and that was fine for the Chometz Sedeshin. So the Magen Avram makes that lamaisa. He says, if you have the time to go and eating up the perurim, then kibud's enough. What do you mean kibud's enough? What happened to Arlar Basar? Boikin Esa Chometz Gam Bum Kamis Agluim L'chayr Mavur. Or mashma at least that Arlar Basar Boikin Esa Chometz L'ar Ner is only in the Mekaymis Mustarim. Is only in the Chayr Shtakim. Is only in the places where you might have forgotten about. It's Chometz She'eni do you don't know about. Masha'enke in the Mekaymis Agluim. What chiyuv is there? Like the mayor is saying, like the Chometz Sedeshin himself says, Mordechai says, there's a chiyuv fakir. You're supposed to clean your house before Pesach. That's the regular din of tashbisu sarfi bateichen. Like, when do you do mitzvah tashbisu? I'm not talking about someone who finds chametz on Pesach. When you're mekaymis tashbisu, not mekaymis tashbisu, but you have a chiyuv. Every person has a chiyuv to get rid of all the chametz in their house. What does it mean? You start cleaning your house a few days before Pesach.
But after that you were mechadi, you still have to be boydek.
You have to be boydek. Why?
For the other stuff, you say?
Because of the chayr stuck.
Who said it's not matching that those stuff as well? It's not that what you were mechadi.
So I'm saying the Chometz is mashma like that, but it's first the Magen Avraham, because the Magen Avraham says once you take care of the gumois and the little pieces.
We can't learn this deal from the Ramah.
The Ramah is not 100% clear. I mean, it's mashma like that in Chometz, but the Magen Avraham is the one who makes it mamash halachah ma'isa. He says kim techais keyboard is enough. It's an amazing thing. So the first Magen Avraham, Mishabur Paskins, I don't think there's anyone who's chayil Magen Avraham. You have a makam shabachnisim bechametz. Your house is full of chametz, and you just have to sweep it, and it's fine, which is a pella. So Hagam, we're talking about a chutzner, and the chutzner has a special kula. The oifas eat it, but the oifas don't eat all chametz. That's what Magen Avraham saying. And he's saying afal pikin, it's enough to sweep the house. So you see l'chayr, then the mekaymes hagluyim, it's enough to just pasha clean them. Now araner and pashtas who hadin, they go together l'chayr, not arlar bas and not araner.
That's not part of the Takanas Bedikas. That's just the
because that's not part of right, exactly, and that would be like this side we're saying. It's not chiluk of Takanas Chazal. Takanas Chazal was a special thing. Let's say a special fitoisvus that Shem Yoichlu, the makamis that you don't know about, that you're not sure about. That's chametz you do. Mashenkin often a chametz on your floor. That's alzeh zok the Torah already. Tashbis Torah b'teicha.
So the first edition wasn't speaking about sweeping.
The Mishnah, you said?
The first edition.
Truth was talking about speaking, and it was not sufficient only because he had the problem of the gumas. But if I'm just saying, if we take care of the problem,
He wasn't speaking about he was speaking about the other.
also he was talking about both l'chayr. I'm asking.
He's Magen Avraham is calling with the first edition.
No, he's not talking about the Truth. He's talking about where there's birds, tarnagoylos, there's chickens that take care of that problem. So he says, I'm asking Truth Session's problem. That kibbutz not enough, but with the tziruf of the chickens, that takes care of the whole. What about stam the floor? The floor's full of chametz because the tarnagoylos dragging chametz everywhere. For that, sweeping's enough. Okay, that's one thing. Now, let's go a little weiter. Siman Tofnun Aleph Sif Aleph. There's halach, and that's already getting into tarevus chametz and kalim. How do you kashi a kalim for Pesach? It's Hashem. At some point we'll learn that, Simon. No time soon. We'll learn everything. It's Hashem. Okay. There we go. Sidetracked here. Zakt mechaber tof naf sevalf. What do you do if you have a keder of cheretz? It's full of schmutz of chametz. What are you supposed to do with it? Zakt mechaber that which better megamar. Mishafshifon hetev be'inyan shlo yechametz nikar bahem umutal asher slachar pesach l'shamish ben. You have to mamish scrub it. It's stuck on the chametz is there. It's in the kli, stuck in davuk. So you have to take a sponge and some elbow grease and take some chomer and like really scrub it very well. Fine. So that's how you clean it for Pesach. Now. So, I don't think anyone thinks you have to do that, or lar bas or lar haner. That would be very difficult, holding a candle in one hand, the sponge in the other hand, and trying to clean your pot. This is talking about before Pesach cleaning. So you're Pesach and you get to your kitchen, so there's a whole section of Shulchan Aruch that tells you how to clean your kitchen for Pesach. So this is one of the things you do. You take the pot, you start scrubbing it. La'ar hayoim, inside your bais afel, however you do it. It doesn't make a difference when you do it, I don't think it really matters how much light. I guess you have to see pachs here. So, Arlar Baser, do I have to go back to that kli that I just scrubbed for 2 hours and look inside the candle? The Pashta says not. That you have to go into that kli and check L'arana. This is Vaikter Mashmos that there's no Chayr Nestucken over there. It's not talking about Chayr Nestucken in the kli, which is davak to the kli, so you scraped it out, but you just looked in the pot, you cleaned it for 2 hours. So L'chayr, there's no Chiyav of going to be boidik in that place, L'araner, because there's nothing to do with Chayr Nestucken. Now, this Yisoid, say what we're saying, L'gabe Mekoyim is Gluyim. Say what we're bringing Shulchan Aruch, L'gabe Kalim. So this is all Mefurish, the few short lines of the Eishal Avram Yibuchach, the Buchach and Siman Tov Lamedal, I think it's on the Mar Mekoyim, who in a few short lines says this Yisoid. And he's talking about the din that we find at the end of the Siman, that the Ramah says, it's from Rishonim, that you have to check your pockets. Because pockets are a place that might have chametz. So the Ramah says at the end of the Siman that you have to make sure to check your pockets. So, the Eishal Avram is clearing a shaila. Does this have to be lar haner? Does this have to be or lar basar? And his assumption that it does not have to be, and that there's no bedika. And Zok the Eishal Avram that on such a thing, on the pants pockets and your shirt pockets. So how do we clean them? Similar to what he says in Sim Tafnun Alf, Gabi the pots. How do you clean a pot? You scrub it. How do you clean out a pocket? You turn it inside out, you knock it out a little bit, you shake it out a little bit, and maybe you put it in the washing machine today, depending on which article of clothing we're talking about, and that's how you clean it. So Eishal Avram, Ein Bazeh Signon Bedika. What are you checking exactly? If you didn't shake it out and turn it inside out, you can go in there from today till tomorrow with a candle. You're not going to be able to get into your pocket with a candle. You probably just start a fire. It's not going to really work, and it won't help to clean, even if it's fireproof pajamas. So Zok there that his point is over there that you can't bring a raya from how we clean our pockets to other bedikas. He's machalik. He's talking there about the question of whether after the bedika at night, when you're matzniya your chometz, is that Akiva, is that Neitza Toiva, Ein Sham. But his point is that there's a fundamental difference between the way we clean our pants pockets and the way we do bedikas chometz. And that's what he calls the signon bedika. And he himself compares that, the pockets, he says that's like emtzah shel chatzir. Now it's a whole different din. Emtzah shel chatzir doesn't need bedika. But he says, just like emtzah shel chatzir, we know it's not besignon bedika because it's clean. The Tarnagolos cleaned it out. And it's like a different din than makom she'ein machnisim. It's makom she'ein machnisim, but it doesn't need bedika because it doesn't have signon bedika. It's not there. Hu adin, your pockets, so they're fakir, they're full of chametz l'chayr. And Adrabi, he says that, the minig that the poskim say, the minig was, they didn't clean their pockets. They waited till Zman beer, like when they were burning the chametz on Yudal by day, and then everyone went and shook out their pockets. And I guess they took the other clothing that they would wear for Pesach and they shook out their pockets. And the poskim have a ha'ara, like, why are you waiting until then? You should do it the night before. So Yesharim says, no, it's not good enough because then the next morning when you eat breakfast, you might put a piece back in your pocket when you're finished. I guess that was a common thing, that they had more food in their pockets than we do. Kids still do it. You find food in kids' pockets sometimes.
But either way, it shouldn't even be the other. It should be like a chila to wait as long as before beer, you take care of it. It's not part of the bedika.
Exactly.
Why not?
And so that's the question. So if it's not part of Takanas Bedika, maybe we could still learn from the Takanas Bedika that you shouldn't wait past early Yadalit. Right? And that's where maybe we'll be machalik. It's not Signon Bedika. And it's not Lor Haner. You wash it out. Can I do the shifshuf of my pot? Can I wait until Yadalit by day? So, in a chanami, maybe yes, and maybe at least this prat we should take out. The Chazal, you see, we're choshesh, Misrash will not do it. So that maybe everything should be done by Yadalit, even though you're right, we're still eating chametz in the morning. That's a good point. But I'll call upon him, as I stated in the Yishlafra, that when there's no signon bedika and the Das Torah, the Marsham Das Torah brings that also in Tzivin Tov Lamed Gimel that he saw in the Kisvei Das Kedoshim. That's Muchacha. He saw this part. Now. The Chayk Yankov has a chiddush in Tzivin Tov Lamed Vav. This din of Bedikas pockets, so it's Yedua, whatever, you learn Mishnah the Poskim, it's like ungenomen that you don't make a bracha on Bedikas keys. I mean, theoretically, if a person's without any house and without anything, just has his pockets, he wouldn't make a bracha on that Bedika. And l'chayr, it's not the pashas of the Ramah. The Ramah says you have a chiv Bedika, which would mean l'chayr, you have to do a chiv Bedika. The Chayk Yankov has a raya, there's no bracha. Because the next sugya we're going to learn, Tov Lamed Vav, is Yotzei B'Shiyar. Person goes on a journey, so he has to do bedika in the place he leaves, because he's going to have no other place to do bedika, because he's going to be on the boat. What's the big deal? You could be on the boat, you could be in the desert, just check your pockets, and there'll be yotzei bedika then. And that should be mafkiyah the chiyah of where you're leaving, because you're going to do bedika. So you see that no, there's no real chayvas bedika in your pockets. And he says very interesting thing. He says, Tashbisus armi batechem shtei. The pasuk says batechem. So you see the ikr chayvas bedika beer is shtelled on the bias. But if you don't have the bias, then that's not now.
He's not saying
this is avada against the pashas of the Ramah. The Ramah says it's a chayvas bedika. So why would there not be a bedika more? And obviously, I don't think the Chayk can make up his own drasha. You can't darshan a pasuk, batechem. So that's it.
The statement near Shabesa is the basis.
Right. So Takanas Chazal. That's not chashayil, by the way. If you could light near Chanukah without a bias. So what's taka the pshat? They're not making a bracha if there's you're going to be over by yirah. I'm saying a person's walking in the desert and he doesn't get the chametz out of his pockets, he's going to be mamash in big trouble. He's going to be over by yirah, and even if he's mavatal his chametz, it's not good enough. It's in his rishus, gvolchem. It's in his pocket. So, and afalpikin now the Chayk Yaakov himself at the end of Tov Lamed Gimel. He's also like mefalpel with this shaila. Do you have to check your pockets l'ar haner? Do you have to do it early yadalid? He's not sure. He says you should do it twice. You should do it once at night. You should do it again by day. So if your pockets have chametz, so why would you not be chayv? Now, and the emes is that the pri chadosh is l'chayr mefurish that she tasay.
We just explain why.
Oh, why?
It's not part of the mitzvah bedika.
Oh, very good. So I was like, the pri chadosh himself says like this. The pri chadosh says on this din of Bedikas Kisin, it's like where's it come from? The pri chadosh like. Take all the signet of the gun. He says, "I have a right. It's a first gemara, so you have to check your pockets. It's a kol shekin. Because the Gemara in Daf Ches says that this thing called Beit Tzivi being milchi, where you keep your wood chips or you keep your salt, it needs bedika. It says B'ri Chodesh, if you need to check your salt containers, Kolshkein, you have to check your packets. Kalim, you see that this is then Kalim. Now that is Mefurish in Daf Ches Ram Chalav, the Chidush Ram Chalav from Rishonim. So he says Beit Tzivi Beit Milchi refers not to the storage room, not that you had a salt cellar, but it's talking about the containers. And he says, just like you have to check those containers, and that's the mashmos in Rashi and Daf Zayin. Rashi and Daf Zayin also, when he's talking about Harabais, he says in the Tevis, he speaks about the Tevis, these boxes. And he says it's a Chiv Bedika. So says the Pri Chodesh, if there's a Chiv Bedika in those Kalim, so your pants pockets is also Kalim, so there's a Chiv Bedika there also. The Pri Chodesh, it's ganz klar, it sounds clear that there would be a Chiv Bedika with a bracha. It's a regular Chayvas Bedika. Now, and to say that it's a Makom Shein Machnisin, to say make a drasha of Batechem, it's very shver zach. So what's the pshat in the Chayk Yankiv and what's I think the assumption of most of the poskim that you don't make a bracha on the Bedikas Kisin Tzal Chayra. It's Hein Advar. It's not because there's less of a chiyuv in your pockets. It's not because it's not a Makom Shein Machnisin or it's not Batechem. It's fakert. It's like Makom is Galuyin. It just doesn't have sigla and bedika. That's not the place where Chazal said, be careful, Arlar Basa, go check in the nooks and crannies, go check in all the cracks in your house. This is the regular din. Just like on your dining room table, there's no Chayvus Bedika Ar Haner. Just like Emsa Shal Chatzir, there's no Chayvus Bedika Ar Haner early dal. That's the regular din. Tashbis Sam Botechem, your pockets also. It's the same thing. You have Chometz in your pockets. You might have Chometz in your pockets, get rid of it. That's the regular chiyuv. That's like Makom is Gluyim. Hagam in the pocket's not so godly, but it's not Besignim Bedika. It's not the place.
Mishmash
Yadayim, yeah, sometimes the Mishmash Yadayim, turning it inside out, washing it, cleaning it, shaking it. Al-Kapanu, it's not the signal of Bedika. And for Karen, it's not like the place, if anything, the pockets are not the place where, maybe I forgot in a crack in the wall, piece of chametz. The pockets that you're wearing in your pants, that's like mamish on you. So that's the regular din of tashbisu. It doesn't have signal Bedika. Just like your pots and pans, it's not, go check in the Mekoimis Mustarim that maybe. That's your chametz pots, of course. Go clean them out, scrub them from all the chametz shmutz that you know is there. And the Meila, it's a chiyuv gomer to clean out your pockets. So says the Pri Chadash that he learns from Beit Tzivi, from the Gemara, that Kalim. So who adin Kalim? But even if we'll be machalik and say that maybe Beit Tzivi, maybe there it was big aronot, maybe it was something kavua, maybe it was a different type of Kalim that was besignoin bedika, that it wasn't something you moved around, it wasn't stam metaltalin, so then it would be besignoin bedika, it would be nichlal. Chazal say, by the way, check under in all the shelves, just like we go in our cabinets and our shelves, we check, because that's besignoin bedika, that's where we have things in our house. So maybe that's what Beit Tzivi milchim mashenkin. Your pants are not besignoin bedika, it's like the pot in Siman Tov Nanav. Well, what can you do with it already? You have to take it and clean it. The mishmash yadayim, the bedika, the beer, and then there's no chavis bedika, and l'chara that's why, and that's the netiza place. There's no chiv to do that l'ar haner or l'ar basar. To wait until the next day, maybe we have a reason to be makbid, to learn from the next day or not to wait. Okay, so that's what it's mashma from some of these dinim, from the din of pockets, from the din of pots, and from them social chatzar. Amaisa, l'chara there is makom lodon that we could be toila. This shaila in the shaila we discussed last week, the etzem shaila of the yisoid chiyuv, Bedikas Chometz, Rashi Ulataisus, and that is because the mice the Pri Chodesh is mashma pants have regular chayvus bedika, even though they're not besignoin bedika, even though you're just cleaning them out. And it could be that again, like we saw, Tosfos' shita and bedika is that it has nothing to do with tashbisu and has nothing to do with bal yirah. It's just a special chashash that you might have forgotten something somewhere. We don't want you to have to eat it, so go check in all these places. You shouldn't come b'misasik to eat chametz and beis. So then we could hear that it has to be besignoin bedika. Everything else is the regular din of tashbisu sarmi b'teicha. Yesh malkum loymer that the fishi this Rashi tashbisu sarmi b'teicha is exactly what bedika and beer chametz is all about. Like we saw in the Goyin and Taf Lamed Vav, that Shitas Rashi is alt bal yirah b'dikas chametz. That it's not a question of Shema Yoichal. It's a question of this is the beginning, like the Goyin speaks out from the Rosh and Taf Lamed Vav. This is the beginning of the tahalich of bir chametz. That when we make a bracha on Arla Basar al bir chametz, it means this is the beginning of the tahalich. It's when you get all your chametz together, you mavatal your chametz, and then the next day you burn your chametz. And that's why we saw Shitas Rashi was that you couldn't even make a bracha if you're not going to have some chametz. Until he found chametz, Rashi didn't make a bracha. That the pshat is that bedika is really a chelik of the tashbisu. So then there's more makom to say that maybe lefi Rashi, you don't need a specific signa in bedika. There was taka special takana that arla arbasar take care of your chametz. even in the Chayrin Shtakin. But Huadin on the table.
Because
and
that's
Huad-
when the Zman to be
That's the
kind
beginning,
of
right?
mitzvah.
Exactly. That's the beginning of the mitzvahs tashbisu, where we start being mevatel chametz and getting rid of our chametz. So it happens to be that Rashi and Daf Ches, Taka is mashma like that. Rashi and Daf Ches, in that Gemara, that is the makar for Chayrin Shtakin, that when your wall falls down, you're not mechuyev to go in there. So Rashi says you're not. The Gemara says you're not chayiv to check in the Chayrin Shtakin. So Rashi says you're not chayiv to check in the Chayrin Shtakin, but there's still chayiv bedika lamaris ha'ayin. Rashi says it doesn't mean you don't have to do bedika. Of course you have to do bedika, just not in the Chayrin Shtakin. Yeah. The nafal. Im nafal habinyin ein mechayven oisoy livdoik es gal avonim elo lemaris ha'ayin. Avaloy lahachnis yodai beinehen. So Dr. Ashi, there is a musig of Bedikas not in Chayrin Shtakin. Lamaris ayin, just to check over there. And that's this Maram Chalavu who says that there's Kalim, there's a Chiyuv Bedikas in Kalim. So that's Rashi and Daf Zayin says, Tevos, there's a Chiyuv Bedikas in Tevos. So maybe Lefi Dargo Shal Rashi, you can understand better the Pri Chadash, who seems to say, yeah, Vada, checking your pants pockets, not Sigan and Bedikas, so what? It's a regular din of Tchilas Biuram Shal Chometz. So that's a regular Chiyuv, just like
you have to
Beitzir.
leave chametz in your house in order to be mekayim.
That's a different question. That we'll see in Taf Lamed Aleph.
No, I'm saying like if you have to. The more you have, the better the mitzvah is.
No, the better. I don't
you have
know.
Chayrin Shtakin.
That's the color of Tashbis. We'll see. But L'maisa, L'mashal, if Rashi said in the Piskei Rashi, the who brought it? The Agar. L'maisa in Shitas Rashi we saw that you can't make a bracha until you find chametz. It's Tchilas HaTashbisu. So Memela, Zok Rashi, if you don't have a chiyuv in Chayrin Shtakin, so then you have a chiyuv in the Makom Galui. To do what? Lemaris ayin, Zok Rashi, to look around. So then, Maris ayin means don't stick your hand and just look.
It means.
And you don't have to go into the Chayrin Shtakin. It means Lemaris ayin. What you could see, mikufya. So I'm just saying, Zok Rashi, that's Bedikas.
It's not a shear until how long you do it.
No, he's talking about a pile of rubble. He's saying, don't stick your hand into the rubble. There's no chiyuv Chayrin Shtakin. Just do what? Go over to it and look at it. So Zok Rashi, do bedika. Just don't do bedikas Chayrin Shtakin. There's like that. There's a chelik of bedika which is bedika lamaris ayin. So then in Achanam there's more makom to say that we don't need the signa bedika, and it's a chelik of tashbisu, and you have to walk around your whole house and check and make sure that it's.
Someone
And kibud would be maybe like bedika lamaris ayin, right?
So if someone doesn't think he has any chametz in his house and he puts some bread down, if he doesn't put it in Chayrin Shtakin, he can't make a bracha possibly. Then we're gonna say.
Let's talk about a different shayla. A person who lives in a house with 4 walls and a floor, there's no Chayrin Shtakin. Person doesn't have Chayrin Shtakin. Could he make a bracha? So in a Chanami, maybe that's talui. Yeah, and maybe Lefi Taisus, you can't make a bracha. Because there's no Chayrin Shtakin, so there's no takana. If the whole takana is because the Shema Yoichal, because of the special thing in the Chayrin Shtakin, then if you don't have Chayrin Shtakin, then you're done. Mash Enkin Lefi Rashi, if it's just Chilas Tashbisu, so a person who Lala Arbasar, he has no Chayrin Shtakin in his house. He just has a piece of bread on his table. So what you do, Arla Arbasar, he has no Chayrin Shtakin. I don't know if he has to light a candle. Maybe if you Rashi, you could hear more the loy plug face. But Lamaisa, you get your bread together, your matzniya, you do bittul, and then almanas to be mavayir. And like the Taz says, the al bir chametz means I'm going to burn this chametz tomorrow, even if there's no Chayrin Shtakin. Okay, yesh makom.
So there's a reason for if people are going to hide bread, it's better to hide it like behind the radiator, Chayrin Shtakin, rather than hide it in places that are not considered that.
Well, what's the other option? Just put it on the middle of the table.
Under the table, yeah, whatever. People put on, on a window.
Under the table might be a shtickle Chayrin Shtakin. You have to
It's
know
the
where.
meat or whatever.
Right.
I'm saying theoretically, someone's going to put a book
Yeah,
up here.
and a Chanami.
So,
Rav Asher told us that the minig of the Divrei Yatziv, the place of the Rebbe, al pi the Arizal, you have to put 10 pieces. So he put 10 pieces on his dining room table, ate the bracha, and scooped them, I guess, one by one into a bag. No, that it sounds funny, but it wasn't joking. That's what he did, because it was all al pi Kabbalah. He just took Mekayim the Arizal. So, if you're Rashi's saving on right? Because that's the din, to take your chametz and start getting rid of starting talich of beer. I'm some he did Bedikas chametz legamri and everywhere else, but the 10 pieces he held, don't put them in, just put them on the dining room table. That's it. Okay. Now, Lefi Advar Me'ilu. Okay, let's keep moving here. So there's a shayla in the Poskim Azoi. Again, the din in Chazal of a person who doesn't have a house is a person who's b'shiara, is in the midbar, is on a boat. So there's a shayla, which all could be negev. People have a place where they're living, where they're chayiv. But let's say a person's in a place where theoretically he doesn't have a chiyuv b'dikas chametz. So Eli Tainus, if you buy your in-laws, you wouldn't have a chiyuv b'dika. Maybe. So that's tough on the vav. We'll have to see. Or you have a chiyuv b'dika gemur without making a kinyan sudar on the room. Okay. We'll get to that. That's tough on involved. But Lamaisa, let's say you don't have a chiyuv in a chanam, and you have a car. Is there a chiyuv b'dikas chametz in a car? So obviously you have to clean out the car, so you shouldn't come lechol. But in the context of this shaila of the kisim, so there's a client in the place. Would you make a bracha if the only place you're doing b'dikas is on your car, and you hold on the pockets? You would make a bracha. What about a car? Is a car like pockets? I mean, it's not a house. It's not platechem. So if we take the chagag of mamish literally, so then it would be.
Rishos, no?
What's rishus?
Car.
Oh, so I don't think it's telling tini rishus or bias. I just think if you had dvarim elu, it's for sure makom shemachis b'chametz.
A garden, oitzer.
Right, it has chametz. Elamai. What we're saying now is that if there's no signon bedika, because it's a kli, it's metaltalin, so then the signon is you clean it out, you put it in the washing machine, you scrub the pot, you shake out your pants. But a car is about in the chacharn stuck in cars like that might be the only place we still have chacharn stuck in. There's tons of chacharn stuck in every car. So, and there's chametz there. So l'char it's besignon bedika. It's a place where it's a makom shemachnis and it's your shus. You'd be over by your own in such a place for sure. It's volchan for sure. There's no question you'd be over by your own. So the question that maybe it's not dumi to buy, it's not dumi to buy is if you had one if I care. If anything, this is the one place where mamish have chacharn stuck in. It's mamish besignon bedika, even though it moves, so it's not a bias. But if the din is just like the Buchach is saying, that it's not a signon bedika because you have to clean it or wash it. You have to clean and wash your car also. But mamish besignon bedika, and the bedika's chametz in car might be the most likely place that you'll find something even after you clean it. Especially if the Arabs clean it. I'm not sure. I don't know how far the Chagag went with the idea of Batechin, but yes,
I
even
found someone who says this thing. It's only a bias, and a car is not a bias. You wouldn't have.
right. So if you take the Chagag literally, it's a pillow. Why would we think that he meant mamish to say Batechin?
You wouldn't have to take the
It
seats.
has to be dollar.
You wouldn't have to take the seats out of the car, though, right? To vacuum. If the seats, you can't get under the seats, and you just take them in order to vacuum underneath it. It's in my.
It's like a board. It's like you can't do this.
Yeah, whichever one you want to.
Okay,
You can
good
see under
point.
there, though.
Unless there's foil like shash achiva.
You can also
Things
see under
that
there.
usually move around.
And the board you can't see.
Usually reach it. Okay, so let's get to this point of places you could reach. You
You
can't
can't
reach.
see. You can see it's when you sit back.
And this is really a second point. The makomis haptura mi bedika.
Just look at
The hemshich of the simin sif vav zayin ches. And let's try to just get to a few of the questions halach lamaisa that come out of these sifim, where there is yes or not a chiyuv b'dikas chametz. So one of the very negei shaylas that a person's worked very hard cleaning his house. It's mamish sparkling clean for Pesach, klar. Then he remembers that if you live in where is it? 14 Stair Eshkol has like 20 stories, 25 stories, and the Cheder Madrigot l'chayr is fee the Mamonis Shalom, the Bailas, the Chatzar Shutz, and everyone has rights. Everyone pays for the nikayon of the whole building, and the elevator and all the thing. So if it's your Chatzar, it's your shus. Do you have a chiyuv b'dika? And then you have to go 30 floors and check all the chayrin stuck in the entire Cheder Madrigot. So, Lamaisa we saw in Sifvav there's machlekes, Mechaber Ramah. Chatzar doesn't need a bedika because we assume the birds are going to eat it. So Mechaber says that's only if it's a suffix chametz. If it's a suffix chametz, then you could rely on not doing bedika. But if there's vaday chametz in that chatzar, so you need a bedika. Says the Ramah no. And the Ramah proves it from Taf Mem Hey Sif Gimel. Taf Mem Hey Sif Gimel states that before the Zman Isser, you're allowed to throw your chametz into the place where the birds are nimtzah. You're allowed to throw the chametz there lahedin, because you assume the birds are going to eat it. So Salk the Ramah Pashat Cheshbon. If the birds are going to Pashat eat the chametz, and you're allowed to even throw the chatchila, obviously you don't have to go do bedika because you're allowed to throw chametz there. So then obviously you wouldn't be chay bedika. That's the Ramah's time. And the negative the Mechaber that even by the chametz you wouldn't need a bedika in a chatzar. So the Mishnah Brura is machriya like many poskim that we pass like the Mechaber, because we have a teretz to this kasha that avadi you're not allowed to throw chametz stam in your chatzar even if there's birds. You're not allowed to throw lechatchila. If to be vaday chametz, you'd have to be mevared. So what's the pshat in Tov Mem Hesef Gimel? So the poskim say that that's talking about a makom hefker. The only place you're allowed to throw chametz before Zman Isser and just not worry about it is only if it's a makom hefker. So that's the chiluk. Now, what's that? Oh, so very good, beautiful. Daniel's asking good. That's Magen Ram's kasha. Magen Ram says what? It's talking about a makom hefker in the middle of the street. If 2 days before Pesach you dump piles of chametz in the middle of the street, even if there's no arv in a million miles, it's hefker. You're moitzit from your rishus, you're mafka, you're mavatal, garnished. You have nothing to worry about. You're allowed to do that erev Pesach as much. We keep some chametz to burn it, kind of the street, but you're allowed to throw chametz into the street a few days before Pesach. So the Magen Avram and Taz say, no, it doesn't mean makom hefker mamish. It means that you had a chatzar hashutfin, and it was just a chatzar that was a shtickle makom mufker, that anyone could walk in there and anyone could take anything. It was a chatzar she'ein mishtameres, like in the common chatzerus around our buildings, and also in the cheder madrigot, but unless you have like a buzzer that keeps it locked. But the regular, in many buildings, the cheder madrigot is basically a chatzar she'ein mishtameres. It's a makom hefker. Anyone who wants could walk in and out. They drop things, they leave things. Zen Nemar says the Magen Avraham the Taz over there. That's the din that you're allowed to throw chametz there because it's a makom hefker. So nice, you're being mafker the chametz. You're not going to be over in Bal Yira. So there you could be makel if there's arvin mitzuyim. Then you could be samich on the arvin. But even if you throw it, let's say in front of, anyone can picture in front of their building is a chatzar there. It's mamash hefker. So you're allowed to throw your chametz there if there's arvin mitzuyim. Al zeh zok the mechaber, but if you find chametz after Zman Isser, after Chatzois on Erev Pesach, you have to burn it. Because that's a chumrah of having chametz in your rishos. Even though you're a mafker, it's a chatzar she'ein mishtameres, but mice, it's chametz in your rishos after Zman Isser, you got to burn it. We'll see the pratim when we get to Taf Meneh. So l'chayra, this is mamish the din of a cheder madrigot. Right? Cheder madrigot is the chatzar hashutfin she'ein mishtameres. Assuming it's one of these ein mishtameres, unless it's makom mufker, and the meila. It should have this din. Now the problem is then most cheder madrigot there's no birds, right? So if there's no birds,
Cleaning man.
what? The cleaning man?
I don't think
He's not a bird. He's human.
Cats,
What? The cats. Okay, and the chanabi. How many cats? How much cats?
They don't climb up 20 stories.
They don't fly up to us. They usually stay in the lobby. Maybe the lobby have that enter. Al kolpanim. So azoi. So l'chayr the cheshbon is that Ramah said you don't have to do bedika because you're allowed to throw the chametz there. Now we know by this mamish this tzir the Magen Avraham mamish speaks about a cheder madrigot. Calls it a chatzar. Is anyone here for Erevin? Just telling. Chatzar cheder madrigot. It's like a little bit of a sore point in this koil. Whether it's a chatzar, it's not a chatzar. It's not really a chatzar. It's a base shah. But al kolpanim. This chatzar hashutfin that Eidim Shtameres, it's a makom hefker for sure. You don't do anything here. But lamaisa azoi, it's from first Shulchan Aruch that the Ramah says if you can throw your stuff there, you don't need a bedika. Our cheder madrigot, you can't throw stuff there because the arvin are not going to eat it. It's hefker. I'm not going to be over on it. Afal pikein and l'chayra mizen nilma that you're chayiv bedika in this place. Now, the raya lozeh is unzer siman. Like all the places can point out, there's a chiv bedikas of the mishbur with a bracha in base knesses. Who should do it? The shamas should do it. What's the shamas making a bracha on? He's not going to be over in Bal Yira. It's not his chametz. No one's chametz. I mean, it's hefker. You find just some random chametz in a shul. You got to take the chametz and it's hefker. So the place can say afal pikein. There's chayvus bedika or chashulchan's benes faktik. But the chayvus bedika is because shem yaval achloi. It's a rishus hamishutefes. It's a place where you're nichnas v'yitzim mishamesh. If you have chametz, you might come to eat it. So just like in a base knesses, there's no chash Bal Yira, and afal pikein is a chayvus bedika bibracha. So the chayru who had in the chatzar hashotin, which is the makom mufker, but it's ma'isa, it's rishus chem, it's your rishus and it's a makom shmachitza by chametz. So the chayru will be chayv v'dika. Now again, there's not too many chayru talking.
Is that included in a rental contract?
What's that?
Is that included in a rental contract?
Yeah, certainly, and we'll see in the sugi of Sefer Masker.
Wouldn't we just say you only have to check for like a big piece, like something substantial?
Saying like every din of Bedikas chametz, if you're not checking for pirurim. But if we assume that we're checking also pirurim, especially in your hallway outside your house, things get swept into your house. So l'chayr, everyone should work it out and do this bedika. There's l'chayr no other eitzah, so. But l'chayr, each person has to be doing. It shouldn't be the biggest deal. Again, if we assume that it's not really b'signa bedika, if there's no chayr stuck in, it might be a little bit of chayr stuck in there. To look it over, check in, the electric boxes a little bit, and everyone should really be aware of that to take care of that. Okay, that's mitzad the cheder madrigot.
Is that just if you find it, or is that just if you find the interior of it, or you have to leave it?
If you find it, you certainly have to get rid of it. That's looking at the diya. But lechatchila, I'm just saying that Ramah's cheshbon is you're allowed to throw chametz there because of the birds. No birds, you're not allowed to throw chametz there. So that l'chayr, like loy garmi beis knesses, that there's a chiyuv bedika. Who should do it? So in the shul, the shamas should do it. I don't know who does it.
You saw it on the cleaner.
No, can't be something on the cleaner. Like the Chometz says, gumais. First of all, some of the cleaners.
If
Where's Gumais? Chayr stocking, I mean.
And he's gonna use the.
Again, in the electric box,
Yeah,
if there are.
-1.
If not,
So that's all you have to check. I'm saying he's gonna use chaymer. He's gonna use some.
first of all, you have to make sure it comes before his minus or chametz. Or maybe even before our larbasar. Many cleaners come only Yudal by day. You can't wait till Yudal by day. If there's a chaymer bedika, unless we say it's mamish not besignin bedika and it's like your pants pockets, and then maybe
have also
but the poskim are mashmanat. You have to do it arlar. You can't wait till yom abasar, even if it's not signin bedika. And I think in most cheder about to go, there's some chaymer stuck in. You have to open up the electric box, look in here in the corner a little bit. What?
That's your nimas, no?
Why not? Here's a Shabbat. You open up your electric box to put up the fuse, and you see a little package, closed package of cookies. You open it up.
And that's
Oh, it's the same thing on the stairs. You walk into your house, you see a pack.
I really think
There's no harm in stocking it.
It's much for sure.
Yeah?
It's cleaners. All kids eat there, especially Erev Pesach. The whole week they're eating gimel sudas over there on the steps. They're putting all kinds of bagels and zachen in the electric boxes. Yeah, you keep your pizza there, you keep everything there. What's that? Oh, so maybe the electric box is not shel shutzvin. Could be. Right.
Why do we
No, but either way, that'd be yours, but not the whole building. Fine. Well, the mice right. Now, let's just get to another shaila. So, in many buildings in Ramat Eshkol, and I think in many areas in Yerushalayim, so the people who live in the top half of the building use the roof for building sukkahs. So on sukkahs, they build sukkahs there and they eat chometz there. So it's a makam shemachisim lechometz. Like we see in the beginning, Taf Lamed Gimel, doesn't have to be all the time. We know the Yadua, for a week or two of the year, people bring chometz up there, so it's a makam shemachisim lechometz. Now, even though they're using it, it belongs to everyone. It's also, it's a chatzar and mishutefes, and there it's a chatzar and mishtameres. It's bemis, it's usually locked, it should be locked. And, what? Oh, very good. So here, rain, I didn't know rain causes Shabbat.
it's gonna destroy it from between Sukkot and Pesach. If you have some normal rain, it's gonna.
One second. Let's talk about the birds. Birds we for sure have. Okay, so the birds eat. Now, birds help in a chutzner only for emtzah chutzner. What about the tzadin? What about the charim stocking? Now, the average roof, the roof is full of all kinds of who knows what, sukkah boards, dud shemesh. There's a lot of places there where it's ma'oidi tachin that people had a whole sukkahs over there with all their chametz. Tachin boy, they cannot. What? I'm not saying to climb on top of the dud, but whatever. I went up on my roof. What? Oh, next to it. But I'm saying, then it's already makom shemachnisin. It's stud, and you have to go under the thing, that will be chayiv in Bedika. Now, the birds would take care of the emsa shel chatzir. And now, also, it's mavur. Place can say that if there's a roof, so if people keep their sukkahs up till Pesach, which some people do, usually by winter they're like broken, fell off already. But if there's any, or just someone has a pergola up there. If there's any place that's roofed over, then you don't have to head to the birds. We don't assume that birds go in. Even the problem, whatever. Even though they are matzah, I don't know. But either way, you have the problem of the charon stocking. So it's another issue, and it's yitachin ma'ayid. I'm saying, practically speaking, if you go up to your roof today and you go look around, if it's a place where five big families made sukkahs, there you talk you'll find some. Now, why is there a problem? Maybe there's no bayira. You'll tell me it's makom hefker. Not mamash makom hefker, but I don't want to be kind of their chametz. And maybe you'll say there's no shem yavel achloi because I don't go up there. It's locked. So it's a question: is it a roof that we have a shtamshus, don't have a shtamshus? We'll see that maybe in Taf Lamed Vav. The question of oisa beisay oitzer. Maybe we do have some other eitzes, but kipshutoi that now on the cheder on the roof you have an easier time because you could sell it. Right, the Mishnah Berurah brings an arison in this case.
It's not money.
What's that? The whole building. You could tell Vad Bias could sell the whole roof.
No, all of us Jewish.
If they're not Jewish, it's a different problem, right? What? Even if everyone doesn't want to sell, you can sell your own shtamshus. Yeah, you can sell your chelak, or you can be mafker your chelak, whatever it is. The stairs you can't sell because you use it.
No, I'm saying you might not eat something. You're gonna see the grain there.
No.
The form is stuck in the local shop. You're gonna eat the form is stuck in the there.
Again, unless in the electric box.
Can't be something like that.
Again, the makom galui. So we're saying the stairwell, great. Sponge, no problem. Fine, sponge, great. Done. If there's no current stocking, but if there is if there are electric boxes,
Except there's the stairs.
the stairs themselves, in a Chanami, Zochinu Ladin, I think we have a clear enough rise in a Chanami, then Kibbut is enough. If there's no Gumais, which there's not, and then sponge it up. But if you're relying on the sponge guy, so then you have to be careful that not L'chayra, you shouldn't wait till many of them only come after on Yudal by days. That's B'diavad, you can't wait. Comes Yudal by night, you're chayiv. So it's not, unless we say, since it's not B'signa B'dika, it's B'signa Nikayin, it wasn't Nichlon the Takana, we go so far as to say, you're not even chayiv B'chlal, you could wait until the end. Ze local kach pashut, like you see from Chagankav, so that would be a little bit.
Why not say also on the roof, if there's a huge downpour, we're not going to say the chometz that's on the roof gets ruined, and you're not going to eat it.
But what if it's in a package?
When we say there's a makom shemach, this one chometz, you have to start making all sorts of.
I'm just saying, you just made up a head. So I have a question on that head. But not if it's in a bag.
What?
Not if it's in a bag.
I don't assume that people leave packages of food, closed packages of food on the roof.
I don't leave my food up there. My kid throws it there.
No, so I agree. He didn't throw away a whole pack of cookies.
Also, depending on the chametz,
It's not. It's very. I don't.
You know, it's
I
a little
wouldn't
bit hard
think
for us to understand in general this whole idea of like finding, like, what are we looking for? What do you eat? You know, we have
It's
enough
definitely
food, Baruch
correct.
Hashem. You know, you find the pretzel on the floor. Most people. Maybe your kid will eat it. Your kid will go up there and eat it. You know.
What about the I can't be macrame.
Playground of the whole of the area. You mean?
These fancy playgrounds that almost covered over and
That belong to who? Iriyat Yerushalayim.
yeah, but
Everybody's
Right, so Shusarab Imam. You have to chat of checking Shusarab. It's like the street.
it's a makom shami yakiv.
You're saying if there's a Shema Yochel? No, that's a good question. So, in a it's not your shows, just like the middle of the street, even though if I'm walking down the street and I see a nice sandwich and maybe I'll pick it up and eat it. What? Oh, so it has to do with the fact that it's Makom Shtamshus. So you're saying, Lama, you go to a playground from a basic Knesset.
Doesn't the roof
So I assume the basic Knesset is a more Chatzar Shutzvin.
No, why? So just having
Belongs to everyone. Mashen came that, it's Mamish, the cities.
We gave it to it. Like a baby sees it. So just having
What? Magabe? What is? I don't think it's telling Mitzvah. Again, it belongs to the Tzibur, everyone pays their dues, and Mela is a joint ownership. Mashen came in a park,
What's
go to Arla.
What? Why would the shul be more chatzar shifting than the park?
It's owned by, this place is owned by a
What
group
is
of people.
ownership? What is ownership?
Mashen came something owned by the country, it's a Shusarab
What
Mamish.
does ownership matter? Just if they made you a
It's more Makom Shtamshus, yeah, maybe it's more.
Is it
Exactly.
or chametz?
Maybe both. Meaning it's more all Yishem Yochel. Okay, with the 2 minutes we have, I just want to be Messiah. The last point. We're going to see more of this as we go along, but just the Kitzer Hadvarim is the Din of Mapoilis. The Din of Mapoilis, the Chor in the wall. So that leads us, and we're going to see later in Tafla Meches. So we have a few halachas that imply, that are very clear, that any place, that even if it's Chometz you do what the place can say, but if it's under a big Mapoilis, or if it's deep enough into your wall, or if it's down in a pit, and it's pashut hard to get to, often that you would need a kli to get to it, or a sulam, so it's pater from Bedikas or Samim Bittel. That is negea to many places we have in our homes, like huge aronot or huge things, maybe even the fridge. So some place might say it's dependent if it's on wheels, not on wheels. Anything that's a huge tircha to move a big bed, a huge piece of furniture, and even if you know there's chametz there, so halach l'maisa would not be chayiv meikar adin mitkas chametz. Yisrael kadoshim hit, and the mela we go beyond the ikar adin. But l'maisa there's no. Oh, so 1 second. So l'maisa there's no chiyuv to unscrew your oven and go inside and to move huge pieces of furniture. You need 3 people to move things that are not common to move. It's heavy and it's hard to get to. So there's no chiyuv dikar or some kind of bittul. Now in Taf Mem Beis Sivav, Shulchan Aruch says that if you're cleaning your house and you get to a place where you can't reach the chametz, so you should be tach betit. You should cover it with tit. If you can't get to it, yatiach alav ma'atit. So why? We just said so. We have 3 gemaras that you're samich bittul bar mapoilas charsha bekoisel. So the Taz asks this question. It's from a tour Ravan or something. So the Taz in Sifkat and Beis in Taf Mem Beis Maramak Amani Lachem Taf Mem Beis Sifkat and Beis. The Taz asks this question. And he says it's Chumra B'Alma. So that's a big Rav Achmed Tzadach Mitzvah. It's Machaber. Machaber says to do it. And that's where I think there is makom to say where it comes from, this idea that the cracks and crevices, you can't get to them, or it's under, somewhere you can't get to them, you have to start taking movers and breaking your half-broken furniture already by schlepping it and moving it back and forth. But to take some spray or something like that to passel it, that would be a kiyum of this chumrah of tach betit.
But that, there you have a chavis bedikas, you can check this and then you realize you couldn't get to it.